2019 and a beto dwa say ye set up a cyber a security authority Ghana has say na omo act by in 2020. There were so many oppositions omo de beto dwa. Now when an act na by in 2020 a cyber security act 2020 no omo de by no omo edit amendment eba 2025. Now honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah a former communications minister and also edit in some about the fact that now they are criminalizing a speech. Sisi is a oko kasa ewo baby nese one can year about 32 a year page review a year above for a cyber security act in a year 2020 the buy no honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah de abetuja say okai mu hwemu no as a former minister for communication no ohwemu they are trying to criminalize a speech. And they are speaking against that act now on Monday. But honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah Nesema or the Etuja about this new amendment, Cyber Security Act 2025, Communications Ministry and Cyber Security Authority on Monday. But honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah
to say that what we are seeing appears to be a draft, and that they want to consult on that draft. From what I have seen as a former information minister, this draft is dangerous, though it's not surprising. And let me explain why it's not surprising. It's not surprising because I think the president first announced it, that they are going to use the national security apparatus to go after people who make comments on social media that they consider for whatever reason, whether it's under hate speech or it's under whatever, they consider it unfavorable. They're going to search for your IP addresses and then get the security apparatus to go after you. The president himself said it. So it's not surprising that his minister is now following up with a draft bill with such wild provisions in there. What is dangerous about it is that over the last set of decades, various countries have been moving away from criminalizing speech. There are other remedies for speech that may be deemed unfavorable, most of them civil, but not necessarily criminalizing it. And that's why you would recall that even the Criminal Libel and Sedition Act was repealed by the Kufuor administration. There are still remnants of laws that still seek to criminalize speech. For example, this law that is being used a lot, publication of false news, with intent of causing fear and panic, is one of those laws that actually still needs to be repealed. Instead of repealing that to advance, democratic freedoms, the government is now seeking through this draft that it wants to consult on to enact legislation that will now even ensure that when you put up a comment in your chat groups and they find it offensive according to their criteria, you could go to jail. And I think it's a very dangerous, encroachment.
All right, so that was Honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah, former Minister for Communication, and I didn't some Ebetuja said the Onusu who a year Cyber Security Act Bill 2025 idea bas is ministry ne se yan hwehwem nipa dodo na monfa monsam mra no ne sama odi tudwa no e chese se no se sa act ne yagituma na chese there is no free speech. Untimi entina ba bi nkyere wadwen even a kwa kodru say on your personal WhatsApp at a point obi timi ye post or say oh wait a minute to me am status wow status a ho crampo no say act we ye beji tuma according to Honorable Kojo upon Nkrumah no ye beji tuma na che say wo di bibi to ho na say something that speaks against and as a government and as a threat to a government and as a nation and they can come after you. You know President John Dramani Mahama the engagement with the press no the two just say untimi ngoshe corner baby enkeka de opa bia amfa nkyere aban no any Ghana man they will trace your IP addresses and come after you. Enti eno na agwakofa sa amendments we nyina aba. A lot of people are talking about it. Amanfo bebre e de ehon sem ababa betudwa ebi mu e de omunkyeremu e de aba a e kire se according to even when we listen and as the etie free honorable hono e kire se your privacy and you're safe. I mean, they'll be tracing everything that you are doing, your communications, your chats, everything. Even in your WhatsApp groups, and come on mudi mo amatete NPP has a youth wing no mo share mo huye according to a new amendment act na eba with what a honorable de catch on our screens some of the communications no and eba no it's way or say I don't believe this around said a wall screen is no who he born for here or the figure. So that is honorary reaction. They said, or be just according to the misinformation and disinformation law being promulgated by Samuel Nate George, Honorable, aka Kwabna George. All Ghanaians must use the names captured by Ghana Card as their social media names. And also, this is from a PK Sapon, and also himself from the camp of a year Honorable Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, and also Eddie Abetu just say, you know. According to a year misinformation and disinformation law, no any act a year cyber security act no a trese say one social media web no say edi a wo de to so no say akwasi manu ampofo sa na was a social media handle bia wo de say di no eba so. That is what a year PK support or no what he deduced from a year the 32-page act amendments na eba no. This is what he deduced from it. Ono so the ababa to just say kire say udin e wo Ghana Card so no eno na was a Facebook enti omo amaye adwo Bugatti akwasi Lincoln and high tension omunyina osomo se samudin no na mo de call mudin ankasa e wo mo Ghana Card so we and amount for the reactions bebre de ababa betudwa na cyber security said Mediga in 2019 and you try say a deba no Sam George was totally against it. So on TSC say aban mom and I check here amount for omoniema omuye social media on TSC. But ama even as this opposition, as it was opposed in 2019, no, yet to me NPP abaitimi course why setting up cyber security authority. Edi ehun act ebaye and NDC say omo person almost sasa act nim. Emma Ekodru said na honorable Kojo upon Kroma Edi Tujanti Enkotie at the time started cyber security authority. Na honorable Sam George no say there be on tiasie masa na ma no enkoso Enkotie honorable Sam George ne samra sisi.
The justification of fighting cybercrime is flawed. You already have the infrastructure today that is fighting cybercrime. You have a national cybersecurity advisor at the ministry. There's a national cybersecurity center. There's a joint interministerial working group on fighting on cybercrime that has the Minister for National Security, has the Minister for Communications, has the Minister for Justice and Attorney General, has the Minister for Interior. There are about 7 ministers on it. And the structures exist. If you are setting up an authority, that is just a bureaucracy. The bureaucracy is going to be responsible for policy, regulation, and frameworks. That authority is not going to be responsible for the fight against cybercrime. The fight against cybercrime across the world has never been done by governments. It is always done by private sector agencies.
All right, so that was a year Honorable Sam Nate George. And now Odi Tuja as at 2019. Now Odi Tuja say, "Sai Juma we nya ban Juma." Because we already have a committee in parliament, they are fighting against cyber crime. It's here then yes, cyber security authority. Let's look at what we have on our screens. This amendment by cyber security act no by 2025 the bill akose yes semu no omo de babon tin say obi amekire na adwen na amamfo so omante this is a release from Sam George, Honorable Sam George. On one release or the buy on a year amount for a kasa no kasa about the fact say that say the abaso amount for madrin. Now this is what we have on our screens. So this was issued yesterday, Chief. The attempt to bastardize an open and transparent governance process is most unfortunate. Remind me again when in the 32 plus years history of the Fourth Republic has a ministry opened up in this manner for public input into a legislative process. And yes, Cyber Security Amendments Act bill 2025 a ministry ne de betudwa say amount for nche o madwen e wo so enti amount for nche o madwen e wo so no ebi mu ante hu pupuye bia na Honorable Sam George kire mu say da ben po no what say within 32 years in the Fourth Republic and what is a ministry be go through a legislative process be they are involving the public and time see most at times now they engage it within themselves obe once akọ parliament na omaji atum na abeye mra e de akekere ye Ghana for enti ohun bi da enti eye dan nene obi ede abetu dwa say omante and say it is not something that is supposed to happen. Or say if you have inputs, submit them and take part in the in-person stakeholder engagements when we start those to make your points and also listen to the counter positions to what may be your point. That's what we seek to do and would remain open to constructive suggestions, inputs, and critique. Cheers. And yes, Ministry of Communication and Digital Technology and Innovations, or more ede or more released by and you are almost a more nsɛm abɛto dwa sɛ monte ase na moante ho pupuye bia no won nsɛm a mo da mo famra. Now there is an extension. This was supposed to end on 24th of October. And 24th October, no almost the extension about because people were looking out for an extension. Now, we releasing in your screen is also public announcements, call for public input / comments. This was released on 24th of October, year 2025. Yes. Now, ye be able to be a a new act and a new law, Mrafo Froba. That was C24th. The Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations wishes to thank the general public for the enthusiasm shown in the legislative review exercise. Considering the numerous requests for extension of deadline for submission of inputs, the ministry has extended the deadline for submission of inputs / comments to Friday, 14th November 2025. This notice also applies to submission of inputs / comments to all agencies under the ministry. And yes, the very first part, almost that a year general public nasi. Say impomu bi emu no amanfo dodo na e de omo de eba omo de omo inputs e de omo agentre eba omo de obi ase. Second part no say considering the numerous requests for extension as nipa dodo na omo de omo semba na ebi mu wieye ebi mu person omo chere say there should be free speech amendment and as a law bi emma ebe ka amanfo kasa bo ahye nti dodo na so omo sema omo person omo kan jo mu wieye 24th November ne de esua. And you almost entrim and yes deadline no and ministry is so mate and the deadline called Friday 14th November 2025. That is when they are going to end the online submission any comments amount for the banner. Yes, subsequently there's going to be a public a stakeholder engagement ministry and also in person one-on-one now what they were doing abba and the media personalities social media handlers mo di mujuma no mo so mo betimi akọ in person ministry ho bebe o mbehia se o mbeye wa Lisa hotel o so mbeye o ministry ho mo hia o mo na mo ne o nyina adi nkomo na mo de ma dwenkyere aba. Also, this notice also applies to submission of inputs / comments to all agencies under the ministry. And the ministries, no, do one answer the inputs ba, and ye nipa, and as individual, and as citizens, and quantity the inputs ba. We could see, sir, ministries, and also other ministries, and agencies, and also the inputs ba. This was signed by the Chief Director, Alexander Yao Afo, was signed Ministry of Communication, Digital Technology and Innovations. And the way any and someone free a ministry ho e dey aba. You say the medical kind act na e dey buy in 2020 Cyber Security Act e dey buy this 2020 the 2025 the new bill aba it has been proposed about 32 pages and e dey aba yes amount for nhwem na mo nkyere ma adwen wo ho ansa na ye dey asem no and as the bill no akọ parliament na omo so abobo ho na wo baji tuma ababa ba ye mra ade aka ye mra ye wo Ghana hadada no na we na honorable Kojo Opon Nkrumah de nsembe tu dwa e kire say no, this is going to limit people's speech. There is not going to be any free speech anymore. Say ye jisa and some way to man omo twen say stakeholders engagement ni do so a omo so de omo adwen ene omo adwen kire nyina be ko na omo de akọ back what is going on and as a bill Cyber Security Act amendments bill 2025 eba so no so de omo adwen kire eba be ko. And yes, this is the update